Hi y'all, it's Vanessa Love. This is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. Alright, so, uh, um, I want to talk about research on trans youth. And my other video about Littman's bad research has a lot of people upset. And I know that in YouTube world, you're supposed to have your comments available to everyone, and you're supposed to show, what the like to dislike ratio. And I'm like, why? One, I like to create a community, and part of creating that community is making sure that the people here are respectful. And on topics like that, they're not respectful. They're not even respectful about topics that are well researched and I know very well. I don't know how many comments on the adult RAD video are about how that's not actually RAD. Well, you don't know. And it obviously the video is for informational purposes, but to have so many people have opinions about what that means is odd. It really is. And it's not a community that I want to create. Also there's people who are trying to tell other people again how to live their life, but also trying to tell them what their treatment should be, which is not what this what my channel is about. Not that I want to edit everything so that it's like, you did great videos. No, there's constructive criticism, and then there's just stupidity. And I feel like there's a lot of just negativity on top of that, and so there's that. So, yeah, I have had a couple of comments that I haven't approved on the Littman's research video about how the trans identity is a social contagion. First, that's not what the video is about. The video is about how bad the research was and how we don't make broad speculation based on very low populations that you're looking in, right? So if your sample size is 250, you cannot broaden that to the thousands of people who are experiencing this. That was the point of the video. And you also can't broaden it when you have bad research. So you can't broaden it when you have so many parents who are supportive of, a trans identity, but you decide to go to the very few who don't support a trans youth identity. That's not how this works. Okay? I don't know why that got a little muddled there, but okay, sure. The thing is that I don't think that it's good to have opinions about how other people live when you have no direct interaction with them. What you are also saying to the people in your life is that you can't have this identity, and I will never accept you for this identity. So the people who are probably trans youth in your life might not be coming out to you. The other thing that is kind of remarkable is that there are professional organizations for trans health, and they are still using very old and very small sample sizes for research and saying that this is kind of like how we're kind of generalizing for the treatment of trans people and trans youth. So I actually talked to one of my trans clients, and we were talking about, recommendations, and, I said, there's this organization, and let's look over it, but I do want to kind of warn you that I think that they're kind of, using old research. So we kind of talked about that, and what happened was, one, the research in that professional organization that was about trans youth, sorry, the sample size was less than 70, let me tell you. It's less than 70. It was 2008. Less than 70 participants. Sorry, it's just so funny. And I think in the Netherlands. So, like, what trans youth are experiencing right now is obviously not covered by the 50 people who they like looked at before 2008. And like honestly, if you brought this up to me like in any sort of debate, I'd probably laugh my butt off and be like, you know that this is not research that can be broadened to a bigger population because it only pertains to the teens in the Netherlands before 2008. Like, just think about it. You know, I'm looking forward to all of the research that is coming forward that has more than 1,000, like, population, like, sample size of more than 1,000. But, like, please tell me you understand why this is a problem. Like, it's a problem. And that's, I think, one of the ones that the professional organization is using about, like, how to treat trans youth, which, that's a problem. So, yeah, like, it's just remarkable about, the spotty research. And, yeah, again, if anyone had brought that research up to me, I'd be like, I think you can find something that's a little bit more relevant. And again, I'm like looking forward definitely to all of the new research that is coming out. The other thing to consider is that you're telling people how they think and how they feel, and what they believe about themselves, and that is a problem. That is not my stance on much. Like, my stance is like, hey, you feel that? Let's talk about it. The other thing I do want to mention is that I don't find it a problem to have a big study where they interview people who have kids with, trans identities and see all of the good and bad. That's what I like. I don't mind that, because if we're going to have a comprehensive way to talk with parents about struggles that they're having, or how to support their kids, or how to kind of deal with some of the feelings that they might be feeling, then we need to know what it might be, and what they might struggle with. So if social contagion is one of those things that those parents have to kind of keep in mind, if it's a concern for them, then that's something that can be brought up, obviously, in research. I am not against talking with parents of trans youth. I think it could be beneficial. I think that there probably should be groups that are dedicated to, support groups for parents who have trans kids, and all the struggles that they're going to go through and all of the things that they're going to go through, and not just like, hey, this is what you might keep in mind while they're going through their transition. Like, no, it might be, hey, this is a topic that, is a topic that we know is an issue that comes up from time to time with parents who have trans kids. I think that's a perfectly fine thing to do. And like, I don't have the money to research. I don't have the time to research. This is one of those, like, it probably has to come from like a college or something, with the money, the resources, the SPSS, like people who can gather all of this information, collect all of it, make sure of, anonymity, like make sure of disclosures and all of that stuff before they get to a point where they can, like process it, research it, and all of that stuff. That's it. It really, it can't come from one person. Essentially, it has to probably come from an institution who has the money to back it. And so, yeah, when people are like, what about you? Listen, I almost posted a community tab, announcement just saying, hey guys, like, I'm super busy. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to make any more videos for a while because I'm so busy. There is a mental health crisis right now, and many therapists are tapped. It's basically only the new therapists who are coming into private practice who have any openings right now. Anyone who has had a long-standing place, that there's at least in Connecticut a 4-week wait. Again, unless it's someone who's just recently coming into private practice, and then there's no wait. But then they fill up fast because there's no wait. So yeah, like please understand that there's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on behind the scenes. Things you'll never know, things you'll never see. And like what I really value is my relationships with my clients, and that's really between me and my clients. I just get frustrated when people tell me how I have to treat my clients, and that's like layperson to expert. And because I'm like, well, you don't know the person. You might hear depression, but I can be like, yeah, it's depression, but also it's this other thing and all of this like list of other things that you don't know the person. You don't know like what their treatment should include. And yeah, that's why I've left like groups where, it's like, oh, hey, I, have a question about this. And inevitably someone's like, you're a terrible therapist. Why did you even get into this field? And it's like, okay, well, you know what? I don't like, then this isn't the place for me, because I'm tired. Like I already feel rejected by the art therapy community, except for the ones in Connecticut. Connecticut ones, like, who I didn't go to school with, perfectly fine. Also, like, there are some groups I found that are very, very nice. There are some groups that I'm like, I'm not doing your work for you. Please stop asking. Things like, hey, I have a depressed client. What interventions do I use? You should have learned this. You really should have learned this by now. Like, I maybe this is your first time, but like, yeah, you have had to have learned this at some point. Like, I'm not doing your work for you. So yeah, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, like I think that there's a lot to it. And because people usually don't know what's going on, all of this other stuff outside of this office doesn't matter, like it's me and my clients. And I mean, like, obviously I care, like I care about the ethics. I do abide by the ethics, but opinions about, like, I know someone told me, like, don't ever bring up like meal planning and like eating habits with your clients. You know what depression looks like? Not eating or overeating. You know what feeling overwhelmed looks like? Not eating or overeating. You know what, like, binge eating disorder looks like? Overeating, and then punishing yourself for overeating. It's kind of one of those important things to mental health that we gotta keep with it. So yeah, like again, there's a lot of opinions, and like you're not here, and obviously you're not a therapist for some of you, so like it's not like any place for you to say, well, it has to be this. Okay, test that theory out, test that opinion, see what it's like. Also, travel to another state and express that opinion and see how it works out. Hopefully you broaden your horizon so that you can see. What I like to do is to look at the other side. And as I said, like, there are some valid things. There are some things that I'm like, yeah, so this is the thing. I've looked at all sorts of things that I'm just like, yeah, so the other side kind of says this. And I think that could be a valid, thing to even consider. And so like that is something that is there. I mean, do I know which clients are faking and which clients, are social contagions? And you know, it's not up for me to decide that. I can still be here and supportive and encourage along the way. It's not about I have to stick to one idea, because I have to be pretty open. And like I like being open. I like I would hate to, dig too hard with one of my clients and then have them be like, "Yeah, you're an asshole," and leave. That's not my intention. Um, and it's not for me to tell my clients, "Yeah, but you don't really have that," or "You don't really." That's not something, you know. So like that, it's insulting, it's not supportive, it's like it can be very hurtful, and that would go against ethics. Do you understand that? That can cause so much more harm. But like, can we have a discussion about how hard it is to figure out whether or not you feel like, you're born in the right body or not? Of course we can have a discussion about that. That is not off the table. That is completely on the table for therapy. you know I've also had clients' parents who didn't really agree with their lifestyle, but that was a conversation that we could have, and this is a safe place to express that. You know, that person expressing that anywhere else probably would have had backlash, but here, like, just kind of having the discussion of like, this is kind of a new territory. It feels uncomfortable, is a completely fine thing to have in therapy. This is the place to explore that, you know? And again, it's not about judgment, it's about support. And if there's anything that, might encourage it, great. How do you find out if this is the identity that you feel most fits you? Well, here, we'll discuss that. You know, it's not for everyone else to say, but you can't do that. That's no. You know, here's some considerations. You know, is that a good conversation? Of course, it's a great conversation to have in therapy. To have with someone who is here to have open and difficult conversations. You know, that's okay. And again, I agree with the like having research. I think that there should be more research. I think that it should be a broader thing. And I don't have the money or the resources to do it. If you do, great. Figure it out. Have fun with it. Like, really go after finding out what this, what this whole topic is, what, could be a possibility. you know it could be a good thing, to have more. It's a good thing to have more information. I think that's a good thing. Anyway, I will talk with you guys soon. I hope this was helpful. I'm expecting a lot of dislikes and a lot of backlash, because that's how this is. I'm like, I wonder what clickbaity, topic I like, title to this video I can get, so that people just really rage, and never watch the video. Just like the first 2 seconds. Nope. Let me tell you how to live your life. Let me tell you how your clients should live their lives, because that's what's necessary. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. I will talk with you soon.